You're watching the BTC Racing line. You are now part of the team. Welcome to the BTC Racing line. Now the season is well and truly underway. The next stop on the calendar is Oulton Park in Cheshire. And to give us some inside information, of course, ahead of the weekend, I'm joined by Tom Chilton and Josh Cook. We're waiting on Michael Crease to join us very soon. But gentlemen, Tom, Josh, how are you?
Hello.
Good, thank you.
I think we've got Creasy joining us. Creasy, can you hear us? Are you in front of the camera, or are you still getting ready? You look upside down at the moment. You need to turn yourself round.
Oh, me?
Yes, you're the wrong way round. So Creasy's just sorting out his camera. Josh is having electrical problems in his motorhome. But Tom, you're quite good. You're at home. Everything looks cool. Boys are in bed.
Go look at that body.
Is that better?
That's it. That's it. We've got you.
But hold on then.
Yeah, we're all good. So let's start, Tom, as I'm chatting to you. Time to reflect. I know it's early on in the season yet, but how would you describe the start of the campaign?
Do you know what? Considering how amazing the team is and the car is and all the testing we've done, it's not the start we all had hoped for. This is the type of start you hope for when you've done zero winter testing and you have you don't have a very good team. But we have got all of those things and nothing has gone to plan so far. We haven't had the right performance that we would like out of the engine, but we figured out why that was. It was down to cooling pack, which we're getting this weekend at Oulton Park, which is going to make a massive difference. And you know, Josh has had the podium at Donington Park, which was fantastic for the team. Creasy's had the podium for Jack Sears, which is fantastic. I was going for the podium at Brands Hatch. My pad steering failed. So we've nearly had all three of us on the podium. I hate to see I've let everyone down, but it wasn't down to the team or me. It wasn't even a lifing issue. It was just the pad steering, it broke. But we've all been trying our hardest, but we haven't got all the points that we'd want to. But like I said, we'll be on a level playing field this weekend at Oulton Park, which we're all very much looking forward to.
Josh, are you still with us?
Yeah.
Obviously, you've just heard what Tom said there. I think it would be fair to say that obviously your situation is the same, very unrepresentative of what we know of you as a driver. Frustrating to have engine woes, mechanical issues, and of course contact, which you have had in both events so far, which is frustrating.
Yeah, you look at the contrast between 2019, where we rocked up. Cars were very, late coming to us. The guys did a great job putting them together. And we rocked up, we won the opening round, and we had a really good first few weekends. Considering that we've actually approached this season with more knowledge, with more preparation, more testing, we know the car better than ever. We've just not had the rub of the green at all. And it just shows you how important, making sure that you get those consistent finishes is in the British touring cars. And we've not had that start to the season. I mean, obviously the positive is we're not carrying any success ballast, so we're not being hindered by that. Last year it was very much just managing that all season. But there's been things that have been outside of the team's control. What we do as drivers, what the guys do as engineers and the mechanics, some of it we just can't control. And that's been the deciding factor of why we are where we are. But, I'm incredibly impressed and proud of all the effort that the team have put in such a short amount of time since the last round. And, I've got every faith that we're going to take another turn and keep moving forwards. But, for whatever reason, we have another troubled weekend, which I'm sure won't happen. It's definitely not through a lack of effort from the team.
I mean, the team worked incredibly hard, didn't they, at Brands Hatch? For all of you, they were repairing cars down to a few minutes before we got to the final race. But Creasy, if I could ask you, obviously a mixed weekend for you as well, and we saw a bit of contact on track, which you weren't very happy with, were you?
No, I was used to it from last year, but I think for me, it's a little bit different. Obviously, scoring 4 points, finishing in the first 6 races for me has been quite a good start to the season, considering I scored points twice all season last year. I can understand that, and I can understand that what the boys are saying, how frustrating it is, because I finished 11th in race 3 from the back of the grid, the back row of the grid, and I got out and I felt disappointed. I just felt like I could have done a lot better. But I think overall, Donington was a good learning curve, and Brands, I really did show my true potential and realised to myself that I can actually drive.
Well, I think we all know you can, that's for sure. I mean, it was very impressive watching what you did on track. You just put your head down and dealt with the situation. I know you had a number of things going on, but you dealt with them. And the way to do that is to do it on track, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think giving Bobby a bit of room in race 2. He was my teammate last year. We're good friends off the track. I give him a little bit too much respect, and it cost me. So because we come together, and it cost me probably an overall podium, because I think if I would have finished where I was in race 2 or 1 or 2 places higher, I would have been on the front row for the reverse grid, and I had the car underneath me to pretty much drive away. The problem the car had is with the hot ambient temperatures, the engine's just not quite working properly. So the boys, and like Josh said, the boys have been unbelievable. I cannot, everyone I speak to, I cannot say how hard they are working. And we were at Shakedown yesterday, and we fired up my engine, and there was a problem with it straight away, and the boys pretty much stripped the engine out on the side of the track and rebuilt the car, and then turned it on, and it runs sweetly, and we've got the shakedown done instead of me going all the way back up today and trying to do it. So and it's great to see Josh's boys, Dom and Eyeball Paul, jumping on my car, and they was all just helping each other out. Do you know what I mean? It was incredible to watch.
Well, there's certainly no lack of motivation at all with anyone. Tom, if I could ask you, what have you learned from Brands Hatch going into Oulton Park? You've been talking to the team, you've been addressing areas that you feel that you can improve in. What have you learned ahead of Oulton? Yeah,
do you know what? It is still relatively new to me. It's not like Josh, who's been there all of last year. I'm still learning quite a lot with this car. I've still got a couple of things I need to back in FP1 and FP2, ready for qualifying, which is what I did at Brands Hatch as well. Because I still feel like I'm trying to get a feeling of where the car needs to be. It is very close, and what I do love about this chassis is it's very sensitive to changes. So small changes make a big difference, which is really good. It's a sign of a good chassis. When you worry is when you do changes or big changes and it makes no difference to the car. This car, it does make changes, so it's very positive. But me and my engineer Mick Cook now built a really good relationship up. Mick was very new to me at the start of this year, and obviously Josh knows him very well. But I've now feel like I've got a good relationship. We've got some really good things to work on for Oulton Park to open up more performance in this car. This car is a fast car, and when the engine's working, when it's cool, we all know it's fast. When it was cold in FP1 at Brands Hatch, I was top of the times. Just as it got hot, it got slow. Michael's just saying how good the car was in the last race at Brands Hatch, but we were still let down by the engine. I went from last at the back of the grid up to 8th, but Matt Neal, he finished 6th, and I was holding him behind me for most of the race until I had a massive lack of power because it got hot, and then he just stormed off in the distance the last sort of third of the race. But this weekend, like I said, we'll be on a level playing field, and so I shouldn't be having to let people through because I know I've got a problem. I should be able to fight at the front for points and hopefully win a race. We're not here to come last or fill up the field. We're here to win a race. That's why we're here, and get back in the top 10 of the championship where we should be.
Everyone's working incredibly hard to try and achieve that, aren't they? Josh,
Absolutely.
if I could ask you, the Oulton Park's been described as a chassis circuit. Could you explain what that means?
It's actually quite unique in terms of the layout and the characteristics of the track. There's literally nowhere there where you get a rest. It sounds stupid, but you go to places like Donington, Snetterton, there's some straights where you get a bit of a breath, you get a chance to kind of regroup and carry on. There's nothing like that at Oulton Park. It is corner to corner, one side of the circuit to the other. a lot of bumps, a lot of undulations, a lot of blind corners. And because of that, you have to have a good chassis beneath you. And it is very hard on the car and driver. Usually it's a very hot weekend for us. It's usually in the middle of summer. But this time, I'm hoping it's going to be a little bit cooler when we get there. Forecasts look like it's going to be that way. But as a circuit, it's great fun. It is not a wide circuit. It's very difficult to overtake, and it's definitely a driver's track.
Creasy, Oulton Park's a circuit you like. You raced in Ginettas there. Would you say the characteristics of the Honda that you've got now, the Honda's been successful at Oulton Park? Why do you think that is?
I mean, that's just me being a bit of an anorak over the last years as a fan watching, and the Hondas have seemed to go well there. I mean, don't get me wrong, BMW was flying last year, and Turkington put in, a quality lap. And if he does that again this year, don't get me wrong, they're going to be there or thereabouts. But I just think it's like a proper track with no room for error. And if you go off, you're having a massive crash. You're not just going to get away with it. But it's a great track. I mean, I've been texting Josh in the week. I've spotted a few little bits and pieces and what they've changed from last year to the track to this year. So we've been swatting up all week on it already. So he's definitely making the tea when I turn up to Oulton this week.
Oh, I like tea. I like Builder's tea. No sugar.
There you go, Josh.
Noted, yeah.
Tom, you mentioned earlier about you're in a better position with the ballast. Could you just explain how that works as the season develops and how it sort of differs for everyone event to event?
It makes it very, very exciting because, you're not always going to have your Lewis Hamilton winning every race. You're not going to have Colin Turkington winning every race because when you win, you get lots of lead to slow you up. And it goes down through the pecking order down to 10th place, which is really good. And that changes between each race. And for everyone who doesn't know, where you are in the top 10 of the championship is where you have to have the weight for FP1, FP2, qualifying and race 1. And then wherever you finish race 1, you alter the ballast for race 2. So this is really good. It's exciting. And when you're watching it not on the sidelines this year, but at TV at home, you always see a different fight at the front. Or if you're in race 2 and you won race 1, you got full weight, your tyres are going to go off really quick, your brakes are going to go off quick, you're a bit slow up the straights carrying lead. You start trying to defend, but the lighter guys are coming through the field, which makes it really exciting, And I personally would rather be running weight because it's a sign you're doing well. I've not usually ever not run weight, if I'm honest, if I've had a DNF and I'm at the back of the field. So it's unusual to not be running weight for me right now. But I'm hoping at Oulton Park, once we finish it, we will be carrying some.
I mean, I've got to say, for us being in the garage, you guys are on the track racing, but obviously we've got the commentary. So we've got this highly excited commentary team that are just telling us the story, and it's so exciting. Then we see the cars on the track reacting, and they know exactly what's going on. For you're behind the wheel. I guess when you watch it after, how do you feel when you watch the race back?
Oh, I don't know about you boys, but I always go back home and I've pre-recorded it on Sky and I have to watch the whole thing. And when I watch it, I'm like, why didn't I do that? Or we can't believe what's happened up ahead or behind you, which you didn't see while you're racing. And it's really exciting.
But that's the thing, isn't it? The heat of the moment, things happen and you have to have time to reflect, don't you? So when you reflect and you think, oh, maybe I got that a little bit wrong, are you happy to sort of put your hand up and go, okay?
Oh, I'm the first person, if I make a mistake, I put my hand up. But on the other side, if someone's done something to me, I remember it for the next weekend. I'm like an elephant, I don't forget.
Finally, gents, I'll just ask you, Josh, start with you. How are you feeling about the weekend? I know you've got a busy day tomorrow and then you're going to head up to Oulton Park. How are you feeling coming into this one?
Really good. I mean, for the past few years, every time I've gone to Oulton Park, we've had a load of success ballast. Any circuit that, like we say, there's got a lot of heavy braking areas and a lot of accelerating, any hills, that you've got to climb, really hurt you with success ballast. And I think last year we went there with, I think we were top 3rd in the championship at that point, top 3. So it really hurt. I think I qualified inside, just outside the top 20, which was my lowest of the year. So I'm really looking forward to go into the track with a light car and seeing actually what we can do. So yeah, it's I can't wait to get going. I can't wait to see if all the development the guys have done in the past week that they've had pays off. But yeah, I'm ready to get going.
Creasy?
Yeah, it's nice to have a week off and just shut myself off from racing for a week, and obviously going to the shakedown and that yesterday and seeing all the boys, it sort of gets you revved back up. And I've had some great support this week from the fans and the media and different people from different teams and stuff. And I just can't wait to get back out there off the back of Brands and try and learn a bit more for this track off of Josh, like I did at Brands, and hopefully win that Jack Sears again this weekend. And that's my goal. And also 27 cars on the grid, or 28 cars. I don't know if Powermax are bringing one or two, but it'd be nice to race with
sure.
Mike Bushell. Great news that he's back out there on track. I think he's a great driver. I think he's a great engineer, and I wish him the best of luck as well. But hopefully, I'll beat him.
And Tom, how are you feeling about the weekend?
Excited, as always. I love Oulton Park. It's a great circuit. A couple of years ago there, I got a second and a third with weight on as well, with a soft tyre and a medium tyre. This year's different because we're all just running medium tyres, as you know. So I think that might hurt the whole overtaking situation a bit, because there won't be difference in speed at the end of the race between the soft and the medium. It'll be more of a level playing field. Monitoring your brakes and your engine temperature is going to be key this weekend. The nature of the circuit between the trees and short straights, but it's one of my favourite circuits on the calendar. Lots of undulations, tight, twisty, bit dangerous. It's right up my street, so I can't wait to get back there.
Brilliant. Well, look, all of you, thank you again for your time tonight and for your thoughts ahead of Oulton Park. It leaves me to say, wish you well for the weekend, and see you at the weekend.
Cheers.
Thanks.